Time flies like an arrow, like a song. History is like a long river, gliding along quietly and smoothly. The precious moments of the past are cherished and passed down from generation to generation. In 1974, China and Malaysia established diplomatic relations and have moved forward hand in hand ever since.
Saya Zainuddin bin Yahya kerana diberi peluang untuk bertugas sebagai Duta Besar Malaysia ke China selama 4 tahun. Saya dapat menyaksikan peningkatan perhubungan yang erat di antara Malaysia dan China. Saya ingin berkongsi kenangan manis ini. Sebenarnya jalinan hubungan antara Malaysia dan China bermula semenjak beberapa abad yang lalu.
We will follow Ambassador Zainuddin Yahya's footsteps, exploring the past from present, from the cities to the countryside, from the ancient ruins to the modern enterprises.
Saya harap dapat berkongsi kisah-kisah manis ini bersama anda semua. Marilah kita bersama-sama menerokai hubungan Malaysia dan China.
To explore different areas, visit different characters, get to know the unknown stories, and understand the shared history between China and Malaysia from the past till now.
Saya pasti pengalaman dan perjalanan ini amat menakjubkan. Perhubungan diplomatik antara Malaysia dan China bermula pada tahun 1974. Pada abad ke-20-an dan zaman 70-an, Malaysia pada masa itu sedang pesat berkembang. China pula telah menjadi anggota tetap Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu. Apakah yang memungkinkan jalinan perhubungan diplomatik antara kedua buah negara ini? Morning, Tun. How are you? 86. Oh, you still look very, very well. 86 now. 87 now?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Congratulations.
Today, Ambassador Zainuddin Yahya is going to visit an elderly man whose name is Chun Wing Sum. He used to be the chairman of the upper house of the Malaysian Parliament. He holds the highest title of Tun in Malaysia. Only those who have made outstanding contributions to the country can receive this lifelong honour. Chun Wing Sum is a witness to the establishment of diplomatic relations between Malaysia and China.
This is a poster for the Ping-Pong tournament, which was held in 1971. Malaysia was one of the countries being invited by them to participate in Beijing.
So how many countries were
Quite a big
to
number.
participate?
Actually, it's mostly Asia, Africa.
A new chapter of China's diplomatic history began in the early 1970s when ping-pong broke the ice between China and the West, and this has become one of the most widely recounted stories in history. In 1971, China hosted the Asian African Ping-Pong Tournament in Beijing, inviting 51 Asian and African countries, including Malaysia. Chun Wing Sum was the president of the Malaysian Ping-Pong Association at the time.
At the same time, I was also the Secretary General of the Alliance, which means that I had close connection with Prime Minister. So when I left, because I have to be in China for about 3 weeks, so during the discussion, during some chit-chat before I left.
During the meeting, Prime Minister Razak and Chun Wing Sum discussed whether there were any intention to establish diplomatic ties with China.
And his reply was, it's a matter of time. So I said, if it is a matter of time, I didn't do it earlier.
Chun Wing-sum was then given a secret mission by Prime Minister Razak to take the opportunity of this tournament to communicate with the Chinese government. But it put Chun Wing-sum in a difficult position.
I said, nobody knows me in China. I cannot go just like that unless you give me a letter to make them know that why I have given this job.
So basically, as a special envoy.
At that time, we don't call it a
messenger.
Well, from the
messenger.
Yeah. So the next day, he signed a letter in the capacity as president of the Olympic Council of Malaysia, because we have no diplomatic tie with China.
On November the 2nd, 1971, the Asian African Ping-Pong Tournament started in Beijing. Participants from all countries were given a warm welcome, but Chun Wing-sum's thoughts were occupied with something else.
You have to be very careful because the letter, although very simple, but the meaning of it was quite significant.
To this day, Chun Wing-sum remembers very clearly that it was Zhou Enlai who finally read the letter, and the Chinese government responded immediately.
So the foreign minister at that time was Mr. Chi Peng-fei. He invited us to his office in the foreign ministry. So throughout the 48 minutes of chatting, finally he said we can continue to develop our relation between the two countries.
Chun Wing-sum completed the task assigned by Prime Minister Razak, and the 12-day Asian African Ping-Pong Tournament also concluded successfully.
But we did quite well. We were number 6 of the men category and number 8 of the women category.
Very good.
It is the common aspiration of China and Malaysia to establish diplomatic relations. In May of 1974, the Chinese government invited Prime Minister Razak to Beijing for the signing of the agreement on the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Malaysia.
This is the one when Tun Razak officially visited China.
And Mao visited Malaysia, reciprocated
not Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao already too old.
Oh, okay.
Even Zhou Enlai was not well.
Okay.
But Zhou Enlai managed to host the welcome dinner for Tun Razak, although he was already in hospital.
All right, okay.
But according to the information, Zhou Enlai especially asked permission from his doctor to allow him to host that dinner. He really cherished the friendship between Malaysia and China.
The establishment of diplomatic ties between China and Malaysia has ushered in new development of the friendly relations between the two countries. Malaysia was the first ASEAN country to establish diplomatic relations with China. From ping-pong diplomacy to harvesting fruitful results between the two countries, Chun Wing-sum has experienced and witnessed the process of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. He has been called the Henry Kissinger of Malaysia.
我看两个国家的人民都非常珍惜这段历史，也珍视这个情感，也珍视两个国家的关系。
On the 45th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries, Chun Wing-sum, though in his 80s, can still view the development of the two countries as a visionary politician.
现在中国变成世界第2大的经济强国是很难得的。其实，在历史上到现在也是除了中国，没有一个国家能够做到这样的地步。马来西亚在 东盟这个国家是影响力相当大的，所以中国的一带一路啊，这个马来西亚是一个重要的棋子啊。
Pertemuan saya dengan Tun Michael Chen mengenai proses hubungan diplomatik dengan negara China sangat informatif. Di Malaysia, ciri-ciri budaya China masih lagi kelihatan di mana-mana jua. Ini adalah hasil hubungan baik antara kedua-dua negara yang terjalin semenjak berkurun-kurun lamanya. Jalinan erat ini telah membantu mencorak Malaysia dengan ciri-ciri budaya yang tersendiri.
ada tembikai, nenas, ya, ada campur juga buah-buah barat macam strawberry, buah anggur.
Oh ya.
Jadi kita buatlah kebaya tu macam orang kata special sikit lah.
Dihasilkan orang tempatan. Ya.
So, kalau tidak di kedai, tukang dia akan datang ke rumah.
Cedric Tan, who is presenting his clothes to Ambassador Zainuddin Yahya, has a special identity. Known as Baba Nyonya in Malaysia, which has extremely deep historical roots.
Kita ni sebenarnya moyang lelaki kita ni asal dia dari negeri China. Dulu tu dia datang waktu Kesultanan Melayu Melaka, dah buat menjaga di sini, dan ada tu tak pulang ke negeri China, jadi dia tinggal sini, menetap di sini, kahwin dengan perempuan tempatan. Jadi anak-anak dia, cucu-cucu dia menerapkan unsur-unsur kebudayaan tempatan. Jadi dah sebati dengan kita punya kebudayaan Cina.
The Straits of Malacca is an essential part of the ancient maritime Silk Road. In 1406, Zheng He's fleet arrived at the coast of Malacca, marking the beginning of the world's great maritime activities in the 15th century. For the following 27 years, Zheng He, his entourage and boatmen made 7 voyages to the western seas and landed 5 times in Malacca, which promoted the political, economic, scientific and cultural exchanges between China and Malaysia. Zheng He forged a sincere friendship with the local people in the spirit of friendship and peace. In the past, a large number of Chinese chose to stay here. Some Chinese young men had Malay wives. Among their descendants, boys are called Baba and girls Nyonya in Malay. As a Baba, Cedric Tan has studied Nyonya's traditional clothing culture for more than 30 years, and this is also how he got acquainted with a famous Chinese director. Wang Chaoge is the director of the Impression series, a large-scale live-action performance. Impression of Liu Xianjie, Impression of Li Jiang, and Impression of Westlake have long enjoyed a good reputation in China. When Wang came to Malacca for cultural research, she paid a special visit to Cedric Tan to learn about the clothing culture of Baba and Nyonya.
我觉得王导他有很好的 idea， 问题是因为他不熟本地的文化传统。王导来见我的时候呢，我有跟他介绍这个2个很重要的 accessory。你看上面这边是好像莲花的 petal， 下面呢本来是凤的羽毛。
Wang Chaoge, the most sought-after stage director in Chinese mainland, came to Malacca because of an invitation. Wu Guanlong, CEO of Malaysia Yongtai Group, was born in Malacca. Though his world-famous ancient city hosts more than 17 million visitors every year, Wu feels that something is missing for the local tourism industry.
Kalau kita pergi Europe memang ada banyak itu opera show, kita pergi China pun ada, Japan ada, Korea ada. Tapi sampai Malaysia sini, kita memang jarang dapat satu persembahan yang bertaraf international.
Wu Guanglun watched the Impression series in China before and was so impressed that he wanted to invite Wang to Malacca for discussion.
Tak ada orang yang sambungkan kita dua parti lah. Saya hanya saya hanya tulis satu surat dan hantarkan itu surat kepada mereka. Tengok sama ada peluang untuk bawa mereka datang Melaka untuk buat yang persembahan yang bercanggih ini.
Three months later, Wang came to Malacca to scout the location upon the invitation.
我去马六甲的一个画面永远是印在我脑子里，是我看到了在那个古城里边，好多好多的人，乐土一样的在那个地方， 祥和的在一起，他的目光是纯净的，是善良的，是平和的。所以我就想，因为什么他们会在那里繁衍生息，一代又一代，100年、200年、600年在那里，必定那里有它的魅力。
Inspired by Malacca, Wang soon reached an intention of cooperation with Wu. The stage play Encore Malacca, which was invested by Malaysia and directed by Wang, was officially launched. This cultural project was jointly created by the two countries and even attracted the attention of governments of both sides.
当时这个项目呢，2013年我们签约的时候，正好是由习主席到访马来西亚的时候，还是由他亲自钦点的其中一个文化项目。可能它的意义，它是第一次中国的文化演绎的这个项目走出海外。
我们有的时候更多的是输出我们的技术，输出我们的制造，但是我们能用我们的精神，能用我们的文化，用我们的审美，来跟我们国外的朋友说话。
The stage play created by Wang follows the principle of respecting and maintaining the original culture form of Malacca, especially the details, which are the exact reflection of Malacca culture.
我在我的戏里边要表现那个巴巴妞雅那个婚礼的时候，我就很在意巴巴和娘惹，他们其实在某种程度上叫血乳交融，他们已经交合在一起了。那他们会有独特的文化。
拜天地，夫妻对拜，
tunduk kepada moyang.
Exploring history and culture, constructing the theatre, designing content and theme, and recruiting performers, Encore Malacca was proceeding accordingly. But things don't always go as planned. The show that the public could have been able to watch in 2 years didn't show until 6 years later.
这6、7年可能是我人生中呢是一个最波折的这个6、7年的时间。
On March the 8th, 2014, the Malaysian Airlines tragedy shocked the world, resulting in a heavy blow to the tourism industry in Malaysia, and business operations instantly shut down.
而导致我们3月9日我们的这个贷款上会的时候，过不了。早1天、早2天上了会的话，可能早都已经过关了。但是就只为了差了那1天，就差了永远。
When there was no cash flow, land, construction and everything else about the show had to be put on hold. And according to the contract agreement, Wang's work was complete, but the program had not come into shape. Such a grand play was facing a premature death.
人和人之间是用合约说话的，是用钱说话的。人不得活点账。朋友邀请你的时候，你欣然承诺；朋友有难的时候，你就得出手相帮。所以在这个过程中，我跟邬先生我说：“别跟我谈别的，我等着你，什么时候你要，什么时候我来。”就是这样。
Wang did not give up, and she understood that Encore Malacca was going through a difficult time.
她虽然是一个女子吧。 但是他可能就是有着那种男人的那种豪迈，那种义气的那一种想法。
In terms of creation, Wang has her own way of doing things. She specially uses 3 narrators to tell the story in English, Malay, and Chinese, respectively.
This is a ship. 这是一条时光船。
这个实际上是我的一个作品的主要的价值观。我很向往人和人之间能够和睦相处。我非常想要未来的世界，每一个孩子都知道自己的血脉来源。就是我认为他们3个人、3种语言，就是 当地的语言，我不可以厚此薄彼，我让他们每个人都要说话。
In the design of the scene, the 360-degree rotating stage is adopted. The audience is like riding a time machine, witnessing the history of Malacca, experiencing the unique local customs and culture, and experiencing the people of different ethnic groups living happily in this land.
Satu persembahan yang amat baik dan menyeronokkan, dan saya berpendapat persembahan ini boleh dibawa ke peringkat antarabangsa.
After 6 years, Encore Malacca finally reached the global audience.
其实这个项目，它是一个中马两国很好的一个合作典范。首先，它是一个文化项目，文化讲的是交心。我一直觉得“一带一路”的五通里边，就是先要把这个心，两国之间的人民的这个心给连接上了，那么接下去你做什么东西都会比较容易。
就是我说的这个使命，“一带一路”，海上丝绸之路，郑和7次下西洋，我认为我是又一次下西洋。我认为海上丝绸之路那就是一个最重要的地点，我真正的把马六甲的这一个大的融合、大的和谐给表现出来了，所以我在这儿还挺得意的。
Malaysia ialah sebuah negara yang berbilang bangsa. Kesemua ini membuktikan betapa uniknya negara kita. Rakyat Malaysia yang berbilang bangsa saling hormat menghormati dan mempelajari budaya sesama sendiri. Tidak kira di Malaysia atau di China, kanak-kanak merupakan generasi yang akan mencorak masa depan negara.
Here, at this common Chinese elementary school in Malaysia, a rehearsal by the students caught the attention of the ambassador.
Okey, apa khabar cikgu?
Apa khabar?
Apa khabar?
Baik.
Oh, ini watak utama adik ho.
Ya, kita sedang latihkan drama teater Jelajah ke Barat. Watak utama Wukong. Dia watak Wukong ialah seekor monyet yang sangat jahat. Jadi watak ini sesuai dengan dia lah. Dia suka rompas sini, rompas sana. Jadi saya pun pilih dia sebagai Wukong. Ini ialah syaitan yang lapa-lapa mereka tangkap sifu mereka.
So main adik yang berdua ni sebagai watak
syaitan.
Jahat.
Ya, jahat. Tetapi cantik.
The students and the teacher are rehearsing for the Malay Elementary School Drama Festival, which is created by Datuk Zainuddin. He is a Malay language scholar and the chairman of Malaysia Association of Translation and Creative Writing. He has devoted himself to building the bridges between different languages and cultures.
Sastra adalah dimiliki oleh sejagat. Sastra adalah dimiliki oleh semua orang. Maka harap hikayat Jelajah ke Barat setelah saya diterjemahkan, dia akan menjadi hak milik rakyat Malaysia.
Okey. Ramai tak peminat buku terjemahan ni?
So saya fikir sebab ceritanya ada dongeng, ada monyet, ada ceritanya. So dia memang disukai ramai lah.
Terima kasih Datuk Bu di atas tahniah di atas usaha dan
ini salah satu, ada tiga kami habiskan terjemah. Ini hikayat 3 negara. Ini hikayat pinggir air. Ini lagi susah. Ini Hong Lo Mong. Itu hikayat mimpi agak merah.
It's the 4th year of Malay Elementary School Drama Festival, and dozens of elementary schools in Malaysia have participated in this event and have had more than 60 performances already. All the Journey to the West stories are created by the teachers and students of these schools.
我的妖精是马来社会的妖精，一看他们就觉得太喜。孙悟空打的是马来武术，讲的是马来话， 跳的舞呢是当地的马来舞，这个是艺术的表现，但是内容的形式是没有变的。《西游记》的整个的内容是没变的，只是在艺术形式上呢，我们落地气。
Anak-anak, akhirnya kamu telah datang selamatkan saya. Lepaskan aku.
Even this stage play, Journey to the West, is just an extracurricular activity of these students. It has attracted a lot of attention from the parents and society.
结果呢，出乎我们的意料之外，观众呢，马来观众也接受，因为他们看到了故事性。
serta persembahan di pentas maju lagi dan kita mewujudkan satu masyarakat yang cinta kepada pementasan. Ia membawa kita kepada penilaian hidup supaya sabar dan tidak tergesa-gesa untuk mencapai sesuatu. Dan dalam bahasa mudahnya, masa mengajar manusia untuk bersabar dan mencapai cita-cita.
The children's performance also drew some international attention. Liu Xiaolingtung expressed his wish to go and see the children's performance after reading about it in the news in China.
我们很高兴，因为六小龄童是家喻户晓的，我们要见到很困难，没有想到他现在是主动来找我们。
The students and teachers are very excited about Liu Xiaolingtung's visit.
因为《西游记》这样的一个题材，在东南亚大家了解这个故事非常清楚了。马来西亚的各个民族的观众朋友对我们中国民族文化像《西游记》这样题材的喜爱和支持，
其实就是一个融合，我们叫做和合的过程，跟当地的文化跟中华文化混在一起的。他说这个是他做了这么多《西游记》以后，在海外演出，认为是最成功的一个例子。
Jangan risau, toko tidak ada apa-apa masalah。
他们说的是马来语，我基本就听不懂，但整个故事和意思、表现形式，我觉得都非常好。
你看走路，对吧？你看这轻骑慢走，没有小朋友？
我给他们一些提示，孙悟空的表演应该注意哪些形体动作表情上有哪些特点，因为他跟普通人是不一样。小朋友们都懂了，都知道了，整个效果非常好，老师学生都在现场。《西游记》的立意可以有各种诠释，它一定是积极向上孙悟空的猴王精神，拼搏进取，永不言败，是吧？乐观向上。
来，我们开始啦 ，Guys ready？OK 啦，3、2、1，开始。
Go Mini is the chief director of the plays. Based on the nature of children and to accommodate the characteristics of different ethnic groups, he adds a lot of lively and dynamic expressions in the play.
很好的让孩子们去觉得马来西亚是个多元民族的国家，然后你多元的文化都要接触到。《西游记》里面当中，你会有马来人的讲话的方式，他表演的艺术形式，然后你可以看到印度人的舞蹈，这样子，我觉得这个蛮特别，就很马来西亚，我说很马来西亚。
In the last 4 years, many students have graduated from elementary school, so the actors in this play are constantly changing. But the story of Journey to the West and the experience will always be a special memory to them. Datuk Zainuddin has finished the translations of the 4 classic novels of Chinese literature, and he plans to make Romance of the Three Kingdoms the theme of this year's Malay Elementary School Drama Festival.
我们一定要把祖先，就是中马之间的友好的精神，到我们这一代一定要把它发扬光大。
While ancient culture and classics continue to blend, we continue to find new discoveries between China and Malaysia's exchanges in history. Ambassador Zainuddin Yahya led us to an archaeological site.
Saya tidak menyangka boleh dapat setua, jauh lebih tua sebelum tahun 1 Masihi.
Using metal detectors, Professor Mokhtar of University of Science Malaysia and his students found a man-made iron ingot at the coastline of Kedah.
Tapi maklumat asal.
Even bila kita jumpa besi tu kita, Malaysia ekspor besi, terkejut. Kerana sejarah tidak ada pernah merekodkan jumpa besi. Besi paling awal bermula di tamadun Mesopotamia.
Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin sent the specimens to a laboratory in the United States, and the results far exceeded his expectations.
Arang daripada lebur besi itu, dia boleh tentukan tarikh lah dengan kaedah radiokarbon. Jadi dia bagi tarikh dari 535 BC sampai abad ke-17 Masihi.
Long history, mysterious iron ingots. Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin went through Malaysian history, but there was no information recorded. He continued searching for clues until he found a story about a Chinese monk which made him ecstatic.
Jadi saya mula mencari dan salah satunya kita menjumpai I Ching punya rekod. I Ching pada tahun 673 Masihi mengatakan dia singgah ke sini sebelum ke India.
This I Ching mentioned by Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin was a monk in the Tang dynasty of China. He admired Master Xuanzang's journey to the west since childhood and was determined to seek Dharma knowledge in India. 9 years after Xuanzang's death, I Ching set sail to the west from Guangzhou on a merchant ship. Between his trips going back and forth, he visited Kedah in Malaysia twice, which was once known as Jietu. His experiences were recorded in his works, Nanhai Ji Gui Neifa Chuan and Tang Shiyu Chou Fa Gao Song Chuan.
Jadi dia merekodkan kesemua perjalanan tersebut dalam buku ini. Dia akan singgah di sini untuk menunggu angin yang sesuai untuk berlayar ke India. Jadi semasa singgah di sini, dia akan mengambil, direkodkan, dia mengambil jongkong besi daripada sini.
Buat secara barter trade.
Barter trade. Jadi itu menunjukkan sudah ada hubungan perniagaan dengan China. Perkaranya satu jongkong besi besar 2 jari, dia akan mendapat 5 ke 10 biji kelapa.
Right next to the ruins, Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin found watercourses connecting to the sea.
Dan sungai inilah tempat kapal I Ching masuk pada tahun 673 Masihi. Jadi ini salah satu pelabuhan jeti yang kita jumpa di kedua-dua belah tebing sungai. Keseluruhannya 12 kita dah buka.
Ada tak negara-negara lain yang membeli biji besi daripada...
Dan jongkong inilah yang dieksport seluruh dunia, termasuk dalam rekod I Ching mengatakan dia akan mendapat 5 ke 10 biji kelapa di Nicobar Island dalam perjalanan dia ke India.
It was the proudest discovery for Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin as an archaeologist. As the excavation continues, more ruins are being revealed, stretching for miles. Such a grand relic, once the smelting base for people in BC, is the oldest witness of Malaysian civilization. In order to learn more about the old smelting techniques, Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin reconstructed several small-scale furnaces. Though 1/3 of the original size, they could simulate the smelting process, which transforms iron ore to iron blocks.
Kemudian di sini bagi setiap relau yang saiznya 1 meter tinggi, dia perlukan 5 orang satu shift lebih kurang. Jadi ramai. Lebur banyak tempat peleburan. Jadi pada satu masa di sini, tidak kurang daripada 10,000 orang.
High temperature turns ore into iron ingot, which then can be processed into weapons or farming tools by buyers. It is an ancient base for heavy industry. During the excavation process, Professor Mokhtar Zainuddin has also found many Chinese porcelain pieces.
Jadi perdagangan sebelum I Ching telah berlaku untuk seluruh dunia. Cuma pada peringkat kurun ke-7 itu sangat jelas. Seramik cukup banyak ditemui. Begitu banyak. Jadi ini puncak perniagaan antara China, India dan stop di sini.
Through ancient relics, the historical picture of the Maritime Silk Road emerges. Master I Ching is one of the representatives after Master Faxian and Master Xuanzang, who made lots of contributions in terms of expedition, religion, translation and writing. His work has also become an important research material of the Maritime Silk Road.
Satu sangat jelas, sini tempat pengeluar jongkong besi, rekod. Yang kedua, jelas bahawa menggambarkan proses perdagangan China, India dan juga rantau Asia Tenggara.
Di sini kita telah temui banyak rahsia-rahsia yang tidak diketahui ramai. Ia menjelaskan sedikit sebanyak asal-usul perhubungan antara Malaysia dan China sejak berkurun-kurun lamanya. Negara China tidak asing lagi bagi rakyat Malaysia. Saya masih ingat semasa membuat lawatan pertama kali ke Beijing dalam tahun 1984, tidak banyak kenderaan di jalan raya Beijing kecuali basikal. Dan kini bandaraya Beijing telah berubah, dipenuhi dengan kenderaan-kenderaan mewah dan pencakar-pencakar langit. Ekonomi China semakin berkembang dan taraf hidup rakyat China juga meningkat. Negara China merupakan pasaran yang amat besar bagi Malaysia.
Datuk, ini adalah durian Musang King yang telah diproseskan dengan pembekuan yang sudah blast freezer sudah proseskan. So ini untuk dia boleh disimpankan selama setahun.
The place Ambassador Zainuddin Yahya is visiting now is a durian processing factory in Malaysia. People have mixed feelings about the smell and taste of the tropical fruit durian. The people who love it call it the king of fruits, while those who don't would do anything they can to keep their distance. Musang King is a very well-known Malaysian durian variety. This is Pahang in Malaysia, the home of Musang King durians. Andy has been growing durians for more than 30 years. He is used to devoting all his time to durians. Taking care of the durians is his family tradition.
Tanam durian bukan senang. Dari kecil kita jaga sampai besar. Kita mau serangga, kita mau racun rumput. Air pun kita ambil dari gunung untuk siram pokok.
In fact, Andy knows his work and every year's earnings are closely related to China. The Malaysia Musang King is not new to many cities in China. Andy's durians will be processed into all kinds of food products.
我们这看这个名字啊，就来试了，当时试了一下，试了之后发现是跟马来西亚那边吃到的是一模一样的口感还有味道。
我们这儿好多的顾客都是冲着猫山湾的榴莲到我们店，都是慕名而来的，能吃到马来西亚的榴莲。
The durian tree is a tropical evergreen and can grow as tall as 50 meters. May is the harvest month. Andy and his colleagues set up huge nets for the durians.
Saya ikat tali, mau ikat jaring. Masa durian nanti mau jatuh, biar tak jatuh lantai. Takut dia jatuh ke lantai, pecah ke atau patah tangkai.
The Malaysian durians are matured naturally, but mature durians will go bad very quickly if not consumed. So the fresh durians will be immediately cleansed and sorted to make sure each fruit is clean and safe and go through the liquid nitrogen quick freeze process in accordance with China's customs regulations.
机器呢就会在1个小时内用负100度的这个温度把榴莲冷冻成这个模样，然后把它的新鲜度全部给锁着了。我们就有足够时间让它出口到世界各地。 在外国的朋友，当他们享用这个冷冻榴莲的时候，他也是可以吃到像我们本地人吃到的新鲜榴莲一样的味道。
China consumes about 350,000 tons of durians annually. In the past 10 years, durians exports to China have grown 6 times in volume. But the whole unshelled Malaysian durian cannot be exported to China directly. Instead, it needs to go through a series of further processing in the process factory that Datuk Zainuddin is visiting.
Daripada isi-isi, kita juga buat ini paste durian.
Di negara mana yang saudara Sam bercadang untuk ekspor paste durian ni?
Ya, paste durian ini kita ada mengeksporkan ke Australia, ke USA dan juga ke negara China. Daripada tempat-tempat ini, negara China yang paling banyak dia permintaan, demand dia paling tinggi.
In June 2018, the 92-year-old Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir paid a visit to Alibaba and had a business meeting with Alibaba's founder, Jack Ma, expressing his wish to strengthen the Malaysian-China relationship through the development of internet technology in China. As Alibaba is setting up an office in Kuala Lumpur, China's Digital Belt and Road Initiative has linked the industry and products between the two countries. In the online world in China, supported by the rapidly developed e-commerce system, durians are considered one of the hottest products. On the Chinese e-commerce platforms, durians and durian products are one of the most searched items.
事实证明，我们从这个接近6年的时间里面，我们认为马来西亚的这个榴莲，它从口感、色泽、外观来说经得起考验。包括我们进口的这种渠道也是一个非常成熟的渠道，目前来看的话越来越便利。我们从顾客的这个复购率，还有顾客的这个粘性、回头率来说也是这样。
On May 30th, 2019, the unshelled Malaysian durian was formally approved to enter China. And on June the 18th, the first 4 tons of unshelled frozen Musang King durians arrived in Shanghai.
今年这个新政出来之后，我觉得对中国的老百姓来说真的是一件好事儿，大家能够足不出户，现在就是在线上、在线下都能够看到。那我觉得对于大家来讲也是一件非常方便的事儿。
In the future, China will receive 1,000 tons of unshelled frozen durians every month. The Malaysian national fruit, durian, has become the happiness fruit of both countries. With the development of the new era, Malaysia and China have formed a comprehensive and close cooperation. China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner for 10 consecutive years.
Sepanjang berkhidmat sebagai Duta Besar Malaysia ke China selama 4 tahun, saya menyaksikan terdapat peningkatan jalinan kerjasama di antara kedua-dua buah negara dalam pelbagai bidang. Jumlah dagangan antara kedua-dua buah negara mencatat beratus-ratus bilion dolar Amerika Syarikat setiap tahun. Kerjasama yang wujud telah memberi manfaat bersama kepada kedua-dua buah negara.
The model in front of Ambassador Zainuddin displays the whole blueprint of the Malaysian Kuantan Port and Industrial Park. This port and the industrial park have a very close cross-border, cross-ocean and cross-industry cooperative relationship with the Qinzhou Port and Industrial Park. The dual industrial parks pattern between China and Malaysia create a positive synergy of marine routes, logistics, technology and human resources. Starts the 21st century Maritime Silk Road. In 2014, Kuantan Port and Qinzhou Port have officially become international sister ports. Andy works at Kuantan Port and he participated in the two countries' twin parks signing ceremony. At that historic moment, Andy was at the ceremony and gained his unique blessing.
Lepas tu, itulah masa kita bertemu. Waktu tu saya nampak ini seorang gadis yang okey, Chinese.
Silah.
Ya, saya okey, saya pun berasa dia okey. So kita feel like want to move a step forward lah.
After going back to Malaysia, the girl Andy met at the ceremony was always on his mind. The establishment of sister ports between Kuantan and Qinzhou brought a series of upgrades to Kuantan and improved its handling capacity. A regular direct route between the two ports was also launched. As the cooperation between the two ports became closer, Andy's relationship with that girl was also becoming better and better.
Dekat 1 tahun lepas tu I sudah buat satu keputusan yang saya tak tak mengisah. Okay, which is to buat proposal dengan wife Erica. Dia pun terkejut. Tak tahu macam mana nak bagi respon. Lepas at the end lah, I feel lucky juga dia setuju dengan saya punya proposal.
Andy and Erica held wedding ceremonies in both Malaysia and China, and now they have a child. The loving family lives in Kuantan now.
Hi Erica. Ni hao. Ni hao. Wow, so cute. How old is he? 2 years old. So I'm sure your parents love it.
The only grandson.
Oh, only grandson
真的感谢这个两国双园这一个项目了如果没有这个两国双园的联姻，我也认识不到我的太太那么也不会有了现在的这个两国双园的第一个产品，就是我的宝宝了。对。
From China to Malaysia, from a girl to a mother, every time Erica looks back on her life journey, she feels blessed and happy.
给我一种很踏实，然后特别可靠的感觉。我觉得就挺合适的两个人，然后就对以后很有信心嘛。我也希望有像我跟安迪这样子的机缘我希望有能出现越来越多吧。
这个产业园的成功，它将会带动了整个关丹的发展，它也连带整个马来西亚都有更好的发展。
Andy still works at the port and the park now. As the most dynamic port along the east coast of Malaysia, Kuantan Port and the industrial parks have become the focus for the enterprises in both countries. Alliance Steel is the biggest company in Malaysia-China Kuantan Industrial Park, and also the first modern integrated steel plant adopting complete flow and process technology that China invested overseas. With an annual production of 3.5 million tonnes, Alliance Steel has become the biggest steel and iron plant in Malaysia. Kerry has been working here since the plant went into operation in 2017.
Saya sebelum ni tak menerima lah. Dulu masa saya belajar chemical engineering.
Sebelum berkhidmat dengan syarikat ini, sama ada tempat syarikat lain yang saudara Kari pernah berkhidmat?
Tak pernah. Saya bekerja di kilang ini, di syarikat ini jurus lepas saya tamat pergajian saya.
Oh, merupakan pekerjaan yang pertama
bagi
Kari
ya.
Alliance Steel not only has the biggest and most advanced blast furnace in Malaysia, but also adopts a low energy consumption, green intelligent management system throughout the plant. Among its over 3,000 employees, 60% are Malaysian. The company organises the Malaysian employees to participate in training in China on a regular basis.
Dan saya juga dipahamkan Kari pernah ke China. Di mana tu?
Di syarikat Guangxi Senglong, di Guangxi Pangsengkang.
Di Guangxi.
Di Guangxi, yes.
Apa pandangan Khairi mengenai China semasa berada selama sebulan di sana?
Bila dah sampai ke sana, saya diberitahulah oleh orang kata penduduk sekeliling lah kan, dengan adanya high speed train, dengan adanya kilang besi di sana tu kan, and then kehidupan penduduk sekitar tu develop a lot, like kiranya boleh nampak lah kemajuan di orang kata di China tu berkembang pesat lah. Bagi saya teknologi kan, kemajuan teknologi ni is a need lah untuk orang kata pembangunan negara itu sendiri.
Kerry's home is 1 hour from the steel plant by driving. His parents run a palmery. Kerry used to think that he would grow up and live a life just like his parents.
10 tahun lalu
warga muda Kuantan dan juga warga muda sekeliling kawasan MCKIP kebanyakannya akan pergi ke ibu kota besar seperti Kuala Lumpur atau Johor Bahru untuk mencari pekerjaan, tetapi pada masa sekarang warga-warga muda boleh mencuba untuk mencari kerja di kawasan MCKIP kerana terdapat peluang pekerjaan yang besar dan banyak disediakan di kawasan rumah sendiri.
Alliance Steel sits at the Kuantan port and faces the South China Sea. It is a transnational enterprise integrating production, processing, distribution and trade, radiating throughout the whole Southeast Asia. In April 2019, China held the second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. In meeting with the Malaysian Prime Minister, President Xi specifically mentioned that both countries should strengthen planning. More effort should be made in advancing the two countries' Twin Parks initiative, making it an important node of the new international land-sea trade corridor so that it can promote connectivity and development of the two nations and the whole region. For the peoples of China and Malaysia, this means a better future. Today is a traditional Chinese festival, the Lantern Festival, and the festive atmosphere is very strong in Malaysia as well. Chinese civilization dates back to 5,000 years ago, and the Chinese culture, dietary habit and living habits have all set down their roots here through the interactions between the two countries in history, and have become an inseparable part of the Malaysian culture.
Banyak kemahiran dan kepakaran yang berasal daripada China telah diadaptasi di Malaysia. Ia diwarisi dan diperkembangkan, malah diubah suai sehingga menjadi sebahagian daripada budaya Malaysia.
This magnificent and inspiring performance is called Gundang China and is an intangible cultural heritage of Malaysia. This performance is well accepted in Malaysia. In Malaysia, over 20,000 young drummers participate in this activity, and there are more than 200 drum teams in the country. Ambassador Zainuddin is meeting the core inheritor of this feat, Go Siang Hyung.
Jadi yang ni sudah 31 tahun dah. Dia pertama kali dia ditubuhkan dekat Johor 1988. Kerana gendang ni dulu hanya untuk tarian singa dan tarian naga. Tak main macam ni. Jadi master saya dia cakap orang Malaysia mesti ada orang Malaysia punya cara. Jadi I muncul lah, I kena perkenalkan gendang, cara main yang baru ni untuk anak Malaysia yang berikut tu. Ya.
Go Siang Hung was one of the first Gundang China drummers, and he is now devoted to the inheritance and promotion of this feat. This team is made up of junior high students, and he has been training them for less than 6 months now.
Master Go, saya kagum satu permainan atau persembahan yang baik sekali.
I nak buat gendang ni, persembahan ni bukan untuk kaum Cina saja, ini semua untuk Malaysia, rakyat Malaysia, kerana dia ciptaan sini.
Dalam masa yang singkat dapat melatih murid-murid untuk memberikan persembahan yang memang agak baik sekali.
Mereka punya, mereka tabahlah nak berlatih lah.
Gundang China is a unique Malay drumming performance, even though it originated from traditional Chinese culture. Go Siang Hyung is thinking about adding some more musical features to it now.
以前是西洋鼓手的关系，所以有很多的一些打鼓的方式，还有我在本土，我们这里跟马来老师学马来鼓，印度老师学印度鼓，所以我就把这样子的一个把它贯穿在我们这个节气。我就把那个节令的那个或者节气的那一个智慧呢变化，天气的变化跟我们这边的变化呢，我们把它融合，给我们本土的友族也来跟我们普天同庆。因为我们在他们的开斋节，我们也庆祝他们的节日；屠妖节，印度同胞的我们也庆祝。然后打起来的话，会很震撼人心。所以我觉得它有它一定的，我觉得它的魅力在那里。
In his team, a slim little girl caught the attention of Ambassador Zainuddin. It's the 12-year-old Akila.
Baru je?
Baru je.
Ya? Minat ke ataupun
Minat.
dipaksa main ni?
Minat sebab
minat bermain.
Ayah saya kan dia main gitar, lepas tu mak saya pun boleh flute.
Boleh ajar saya macam mana nak main?
Boleh, tadi saya pun tengah belajar juga.
Okey.
Okey.
Alright. Okey.
So boleh.
Oh, okey.
Akila is a quiet girl and she has a dozen cats at home. Every day after school, she likes to spend time with the cats. Her fondness for drumming began by accident.
Saya kan menyertai kerana ada pihak Astro datang ke China untuk membuat persembahan gendang 24 musim. Ada lelaki sikit.
The fundamental training of drumming is about rhythm and strength. The drumming performance is thrilling and inspiring, but the practice can be hard and dull. For Akila, it's both a physical and mental challenge.
Kawan saya pun dah jadi makin ramai. Lepas tu kita pun mungkin ada sedikit kerjasama dalam untuk menyatukan pasukan ni.
Semasa bermain ni, mengikut Akila beritahu tadi, menghilangkan stres ya. Selain daripada menghilangkan stres, apakah pengajaran lain yang Akila perolehi daripada permainan gendang ni?
Mungkin tu kot, badan kan dulu selalu sakit. Kan main ni kena banyak berlatih pasal buat senaman. Dulu mungkin tak buat senaman kot.
Today is the day that Akila has been looking forward to for a long time. She will be performing at the National Stadium soon, and this is the last rehearsal. This performance is very big, with more than 400 drummers playing at the same time. Gendang China is solemn, magnificent and inspiring. It is the rhythm of Malaysia and a renewal of the traditional Chinese culture. This is inheritance and innovation, cooperation and development. This is passion and the perfect example of dynamic force that's driving Malaysia and China to a brighter future.
Mereka semua adalah kawan saya dan memainkan peranan yang penting dalam menjalin hubungan antara Malaysia dan China. Sebenarnya hubungan antara negara adalah seperti jalinan hubungan insan. Dari zaman dahulu sehingga sekarang, setiap individu dan kerjasama yang wujud memainkan peranan yang penting dalam menjalinkan hubungan yang baik dan rapat antara Malaysia dan China.
Pada masa depan, kita kuatkan lagi sejarah hubungan Malaysia-China melalui kajian yang lebih terperinci dan lengkap antara arkeologi Malaysia dan juga arkeologi China.
真是这个情感的，真是两个国家的关系。
Hubungan kedua-dua negara, iaitu Malaysia dengan China, mesti terasas kepada kepentingan yang dilihat menerusi manusianya, menerusi warganya.
中国的市场是我们最看好，而且是最大的市场。
一带一路对马来西亚是有好处的，让我眼界更加开阔。
我们共同呼吸是共同的空气，顶的是共同的蓝天。
Memandang kepada harapan, saya percaya hubungan yang telah kita bina selama 45 tahun yang lalu akan bertambah lebih tinggi dan mendalam. Ini jelas daripada hubungan ekonomi yang begitu kuat antara Malaysia dengan China, hubungan rakyat dan juga perasaan bantu-membantu dan juga perasaan kejiranan yang begitu kuat.
The tide rises and falls along the River of Time. The Maritime Silk Road has been connecting China and Malaysia closely since old times. The two nations' friendship is a river that keeps gathering energy and flowing quietly and smoothly.
过去45年里边呢，中马的关系平等相待、友好相处，两国呢合作呢实现了跨越式的巨大发展，为两国和两国人民带来了巨大的共同利益。展望未来，中马关系可以说基础深厚、潜力巨大、前景广阔，必将进一步推动中马关系迈向新的历史高度。